fans, once again it is me, the Horror Miser Monty G. Yet it's time to do another movie review. It's time to review the latest movie from Netflix called The Old Guard. Yes! Now, The Old Guard is a 2020 action fantasy Netflix film. It was directed by Gina Price Blythewood, and it was a screenplay written by Greg Rucka based upon the comic book he created of the same name. Now, the film stars Charlize Theron, Nikki Lane, and Chijiwa Ejiofor. I think I pronounced his name right. I have trouble pronouncing that guy's name. Now, the movie is about a covert team of immortal mercenaries who are suddenly exposed and must now fight to keep their identity a secret just as an unexpected new member is discovered. Now, just imagine, if you could, you have a group of immortal mercenaries, and they go around the world secretly trying to make it a better place. You know, trying to make the right, trying to make the wrongs right, or stop evil people from doing evil things. This is what director Gina Price Blythewood and Netflix given us here with The Old Guard. Now, based on screenwriters Greg Rucka's comic book of the same name, we're introduced to Andy as Artemige Scalia and her fellow immortal warriors, Booker, Joe, and Nikki. While they're off on a mission to rescue captured children in Africa, a new immortal, a U.S. Marine named Neil Freeman, learns the hard way of what she is when she is killed in action in Afghanistan and later wakes up in a hospital, military hospital, all healed up from her wounds, and everyone's looking at her like, what the hell? You died. How are you still alive? Yeah, I freak out too. Now, when they were in the Africa trying to save those kidnapped children, they realized they were set up and their abilities are exposed. Andy and her team decide to go after the person who set them up, while at the same time track down and locate the new immortal. Now, I haven't read the comic, but I was impressed with the premise of the overall story. After watching the movie, there are some good things about it and some not so good things about this movie. Now, while we've seen this type of story before about immortal warriors, Highlander comes to mind for me, I do like the fact that these warriors tried to fight for the protection of humanity. They have decided not to use their gifts for their own benefit or to dominate people. They're not in it for the money. Well, they do get paid very well, but they don't live a landless lifestyle. As the film progresses, we learn the reasons why they live alone, away from society, and other than Joe and Nikki, they really don't have relationships. Now, obviously, Charlize Theron is excellent as Andy. I love the emotion she gives Andy as a war-torn warrior who suffered loss, pain, and loneliness for a millennium. As we learn more of her backstory, we can see why Andy has become numb and weary. I mean, imagine that you have lived through all your lives as this warrior person. No one else can be able to do the things that you can do, and you go through life from war to war, and you only meet maybe one or two people who have the same ability as you do. So you can see how Andy is numb and weary, and she looks frustrated, especially when she finds out what happened to them when they get set up in Africa. You can see the expressions on her face, and I love what Charlize Theron does with Andy. Now, as for Kiki Lane, who plays Neil Freeman, she does an okay job. I mean, I like her interactions with Andy. Her and Charlize Theron has some good chemistry together, especially after Andy locates and captures her from the military base. They have this decent fight scene while on the plane. I love how Blythewood shoots it without any shaky cam with some nice cuts, displaying Freeman's military fighting and obviously displaying Andy's superior fighting skills. I thought that's one of the better scenes in the movie. Now, for the other immortals, I do like the way that Joe and Nikki met. I won't reveal how they met or what happens to them and what becomes of their relationship. Booker has the worst backstory of all, especially when he tells Neil what happened to his youngest son. You can see the pain and expression in his face, and I love what the actor does. I really don't want to, I try to pronounce his name, but I can't, especially his last name. But you can see how his abilities have led to the type of life that he has led and the frustration, the pain, and anguish that he has on his face. I really enjoyed what that little interaction he has with with Neil. Now, the main problem with the film is the story that Greg Rucka has given us here. Now, while it's great to see how being immortal has affected Andy, Booker, and Joe, and Nikki, And the reaction Niles has when she realizes that she's going to outlive her family. The rest of the story is filled with cliche moments and a nonsensical villain named Merrick, played by Harry Melling. Now, Merrick, he's a greedy CEO. He really doesn't bring anything to the table. He's an over-the-top bad guy who is non-threatening and doesn't present any type of dangers to the immortals. Now, I understand what you're saying. Well, they can't be killed, but he should at least be some type of a threat to these people. But yet, he's just a silly, over-the-top villain. He really doesn't bring anything to the table. I mean, that's the problem with this movie, is the villain. Now, check the way Ejiofor does what he can with Copley, and as the story progresses, Rucker wants the audience to feel sorry for him when his true motives are revealed for the things that he does in the film. I won't reveal what they are, but I'm pretty sure people who've seen the film know what I'm talking about. But the script doesn't allow for that to happen. When I see that, it was like, wow, that's it. I mean, come on, that's the best you can do. You really don't care about the character. Yeah, and I know Ejiofor is a very good actor. We enjoyed some of the performance he's done in other movies, but unfortunately in this one, he's just there just to provide some exposition. Some things are revealed about Andy, especially toward the end of the third act, when we see that Andy is kind of frustrated because she feels as though what she's doing is not making the world a better place. But we see when at the end of the third act what happens, and now I'll talk about that more at the end of the review. But that's what I'm talking about here, is that there's more that this character Copley can do, and maybe he might. Now, director Blyfoot does a fair job in making the film look good, as we have some night shots in Morocco where some of the filming took place. I do like the fight scenes. They look well choreographed. They have some nice edits, and the scenes flow very nicely. So I'll give her some credit for how the fight scenes are. While there are some pacing issues, and we have some, there's no way that can happen in a major city, especially when you get to the third act. But I blame that more on the script than I do on with the director. Overall, this movie does have some potential of becoming something good, especially after seeing the ending, where it could lead to maybe a possible sequel or a TV series. That depends upon how well this movie is received. Despite some cliche moments and a terrible villain, we do get some good acting from Theron and Lane, some decent fight scenes, and some nice set pieces. I believe with the right story and a better villain, we might be seeing more of Andy and her band of immortal warriors. So, I'm going to give the old guard 2.5 out of my 5 bloody gold coins. Gets 2.5 out of my 5 bloody gold coins. Yes, I believe if they had a better villain and a tighter story, this would have been an excellent action fantasy film, but it's got potential. So, horror fans, those who have seen The Old Guard, like I said, it is available right now on Netflix. What do you think about it? Do you believe, like I do, that this series has potential? Or you thought, well. Leave your comments down in the comment section below and tell me what you thought about The Old Guard. So once again, that's my review for today, guys, and my video. Thank you very much for watching. If you did enjoy it, please give it a thumbs up. If you're new here, please hit that subscribe button and ring that notification bell. That way you can be notified anytime when I put up new videos such as this one. Also, all my social media links will be in the description box below as well. Once again, my name is Lamont Smith, better known as the Horror Miser Monty G, and always remember, horror rules. I'll see you in my next video. I'm out.